The chosen one, what's about to unfold is not just reassurance, it is a divine guarantee spoken over your life by the one who holds all authority. You've spent enough time being the target, being misunderstood, being spiritually attacked while no one stood up for you. But that ends now. You've been marked, not just as someone to be tested, but someone now guarded. The season of walking unprotected is over. From this moment forward, the heavens have issued a decree. No one touches you without answering to God first. Before we go deeper into this divine revelation, pause and complete these 3 steps. First, like this video to seal this word in your spirit and help it reach others who need this protection. Second, comment the number 777, a prophetic number of completion and divine covering, declaring that your battles are no longer yours but God's. Third, subscribe to join the 144,000 chosen ones rising in this hour. And only the chosen one stays until the end, because this message isn't just comfort, it's your heavenly shield from now on. You've been through seasons where your silence was mistaken for weakness, where people tested your limits because you weren't fighting back. You allowed betrayal, gossip, even spiritual warfare to happen around you. Not because you were helpless, but because you were obedient. You were waiting for God's timing, for God's justice. And the time has come. Heaven is not only watching, it's intervening. There's a shift in your atmosphere right now. You may not see it, but every attack formed against you is being intercepted. People who thought they could get away with wounding you emotionally, spiritually, or even physically are finding themselves under divine review. God is not only your healer now, He is your defender, and He is making it known. From now on, when someone even thinks about moving against you, a holy fear will rise in their chest. Not because of who you are in the natural, but because your name is registered in the spirit. Angels have been assigned, protection has been activated, and those who tried you before, they'll look again and won't even recognize the new spiritual boundary around you. Do not be surprised if people begin to avoid you, not because you've changed your personality, but because your presence now carries a weight of divine judgment. This isn't isolation. This is insulation. God is pulling you into a space where only aligned people, protected paths, and holy connections are allowed. And the reason this change is so radical is because you passed the test. You endured seasons where you could have retaliated, but didn't. You could have exposed your enemies, but you covered them. You chose to be still when everything in your flesh screamed to react. Heaven saw it. Heaven recorded it. And heaven has now responded. This is your Psalm 91 moment. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you. That's not just scripture, it's your reality now. You may begin to notice a strange peace, like the things that used to rattle you don't anymore. The people who used to intimidate you, their words now fall flat. That's the spiritual shield working. That's what it feels like when God steps in between you and the attack. You don't have to defend yourself anymore. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You are surrounded. Let them talk. Let them plot. Let them project. But also, let them tremble. Because God has declared, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. You are both anointed and sent. That makes you untouchable in the spirit. The chosen one has entered a realm of divine immunity. Not immunity from trial, but immunity from defeat. Yes, the weapon may form, but it will not prosper. The tongue may rise, but it will not stand. And the trap may be set, but you will walk around it, not into it. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard anymore. Your very presence speaks now. You don't need to explain your heart to be believed. God is your witness. You don't need to beg for peace. Peace has been commanded over you. This new season will confuse those who once had access to you. Some will feel blocked. Not because you shut them out, but because heaven shut the door. You didn't exile them. God withdrew them. Why? Because you are no longer available to be toyed with, tolerated, or tested by people who don't understand your assignment. Let this be very clear. You are not alone in your battles anymore. You never truly were. But now, the war in the heavens is visible in your earthly walk. Divine justice is not just something you read about. It's something you walk in. And if you're wondering why your spirit feels calmer, why certain people feel like they've fallen off the map, it's not random. It's protection. It's God fulfilling his promise. I myself will fight for you. Not just shield you, fight for you. You don't need to be afraid of confrontation anymore. You don't need to be afraid of being misunderstood, mistreated, mishandled, because heaven has decided no more. From this moment on, your name carries weight, not just in rooms, but in realms. The spiritual authority you've gained through pain, through process, and through patience now becomes your perimeter. This is why only the chosen one remains to the end. Because this kind of word, it's not for the curious, it's for the called, and you've been called to walk forward unharmed. The chosen one, there is something shifting beneath the surface, something no one else may see, but your spirit can feel it. What once surrounded you like chaos is now parting. What once followed you like shadows is now dissolving. This is the weight of divine justice landing, and it is silent, precise, and undeniable. You don't have to make announcements. You don't have to respond, because God is already speaking on your behalf. The reason no one dares to touch you anymore isn't because they've suddenly grown in conscience. It's because they've been warned, spiritually warned. Whether they're aware of it or not, something inside them hesitates now. Something holds their hand back. The mocking spirit that once felt bold in your presence now trembles. Why? Because the spiritual realm has identified you as sealed. You have been sealed by fire. You have been marked by survival. You have been authorized through obedience. This kind of seal doesn't come through promotion or popularity. It comes through process. And you've endured one hell of a process. That season where you lost everything, yet still chose to worship. That moment where betrayal pierced your soul, yet you forgave. That night you cried in silence, yet still whispered, "Your will be done." All of it has built a fortress around your life, one not seen by human eyes, but very visible to the spirit realm. The fortress isn't made of bricks, it's made of glory. And that glory doesn't just glow, it guards. That's why the attacks are fewer. That's why the confrontations feel shallow. That's why certain people don't even try anymore. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's covenant. And this covenant comes with divine security. But here's something deeper you must understand. The protection over your life isn't just for your comfort. It's for your purpose. God didn't shield you just so you could breathe easier. He shielded you so you could walk boldly. There are things he needs you to do, places he needs you to enter, atmospheres he needs you to shift, and none of that can happen if you're constantly looking over your shoulder. That's why he silenced the background noise. That's why he removed the distractions. That's why he blocked the sabotage, because the mission is too critical now, and you are too valuable to be left exposed. From now on, your presence will carry a warning. You won't need to defend yourself in conversations. Your spirit will speak before you even open your mouth. Some people will get uncomfortable around you, and they won't know why. It's not personal, it's spiritual. Your anointing unsettles unclean spirits. Your light irritates those still choosing darkness. You've become a mirror, and people who aren't ready to see themselves will avoid you. But that's okay. You weren't sent to comfort them. You were sent to convict the atmosphere. This is why you're no longer easy to reach. This is why old cycles can't find their way back in. This is why what used to trap you no longer even tempts you. Because the old version of you was vulnerable. But the current version of you? Untouchable. Not because of pride, not because of ego, but because God has declared enough. Enough of the bullying, enough of the betrayal, enough of the invisible battles, enough of the spiritual assignments sent to derail you. Heaven has drawn a line in the spirit, and anyone who tries to cross it will feel the consequence. They may not even know what hit them, but you will. You'll know it's God keeping his word. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. Genesis 12:3, you are not defenseless anymore. You never truly were, but now the defense is visible. Now the retaliation is divine. Now the line has been drawn, and those who test it won't dare twice. This isn't about being feared, it's about being honored. This isn't about being isolated, it's about being set apart. This isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. You are walking into rooms your enemies once tried to lock you out of. You are receiving favor in places where your name was once slandered. You are experiencing peace in spaces where you once had to fight to breathe. Why? Because the mantle on your life is finally being recognized, not by people, by heaven. And when heaven recognizes you, it sends a ripple through earth. People start treating you differently, not because they know the details, but because something in their spirit tells them, be careful with this one. That something is God's protection manifesting. So walk boldly now, speak clearly now, rest fully now, because your defense is no longer in your hands, it's in God's. And He never sleeps, never slumbers, and never loses a case. The chosen one. This is the part where things begin to look unfair, but in your favor. What others see as sudden is the result of everything God has been building behind the veil. While they thought you were quiet, God was making declarations. While they thought you were being overlooked, heaven was planning your emergence. And now, something different is settling over your life. It's not just peace. It's not just clarity. It's power, the kind that changes how people treat you, how spirits respond to you, how doors react to you. From now on, your steps echo with divine permission. Not because you're chasing favor, but because favor is chasing you. Let's go deeper. You may start to feel a holy discomfort around certain people, not because you're judging them, but because your spirit has outgrown the environment. This is what happens when divine authority activates. It removes you from familiar places so you won't be deluded. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to be tolerable. You were meant to be set apart. And now that the line has been drawn around your life, anything that tries to trespass will be confronted. Not by you, but by the God who called you. There's a level of spiritual fear that is now surrounding your name. People won't always be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. They'll think twice before speaking against you. They'll hesitate before trying to manipulate you. They'll pull back from trying to sabotage you. Why? Because something unseen is pushing them back. That's not paranoia. That's divine covering. Some people will say you've changed, and they'll be right. But not in the way they think. You didn't become colder. You became covered. You didn't become arrogant. You became aware. You're no longer walking blindly. You're walking armored. Your discernment has sharpened. Your tolerance for games has dropped. Your inner peace is now non-negotiable. These are not personality shifts. They are spiritual promotions. Let that settle in. You've been promoted in the spirit. You are no longer seen as someone waiting for approval. You are now someone walking in assignment. That changes everything. And the realm of darkness knows it. That's why the attacks feel different now. That's why the warfare is quieter, more subtle. The enemy is no longer using people to fight you. He's trying to use them to distract you. Because open war doesn't work anymore. You're too covered. So now the strategy is to get you to disqualify yourself. But here's the good news. You won't. Because the spirit in you is stronger now. Your soul has matured. Your ears are trained. Your heart knows how to stay anchored. You don't move by impulse anymore. You move by instruction. And when God says move, nothing can stop you. Even those who once held power over your emotions are finding themselves unable to shake you. The people who once knew how to wound you with a sentence are discovering their words fall to the floor now. That's what divine detachment looks like. God is cutting emotional cords that kept you bound. You still love, but you no longer bow. Read that again. You still love, but you no longer bow. Shh. You're not submitting to fear anymore. You're not submitting to shame anymore. You're not submitting to unworthiness anymore. Because you've seen too much. You've survived too much. You've carried too much oil to pretend you're empty. This oil didn't come cheaply. It came through crushing, through tears, through silence, through nights where you were gasping for hope, and God was bottling every single drop. And now, it's pouring, not just for your healing, but for your authority. Don't shrink back now. Don't explain away the favor. Don't apologize for the glory that follows you. You didn't manufacture this. You didn't manipulate your way into this. You were faithful. That's why it's here. You're not a threat because you're loud. You're a threat because you're anointed. An anointing doesn't need applause to be powerful. It just needs alignment. So stay aligned. Stay obedient. Stay covered. Because the season you're in now is not about proving anything. It's about protecting everything. Protecting your peace. Protecting your focus. Protecting the mantle you carry. That's why certain doors closed. That's why some connections faded. That's why it feels like you've been hidden for a while. It wasn't punishment, it was preservation. Because God only reveals what he has already sealed. And now that you're sealed, he's revealing you in waves. Not to impress, but to impact. So don't be surprised when the favor increases. Don't be shocked when honor comes from unexpected places. Don't be thrown off when those who once rejected you now have to recognize you. Because no one touches what heaven has claimed. You've been claimed. You've been cleansed. You've been commissioned. And the chosen one does not walk alone. Not anymore. Heaven walks with you. Justice walks with you. Angels walk with you. And from now on, when they see you, they'll see all of that. The chosen one, by now you've realized, it's not just about who comes against you. It's about who stands behind you. The power backing your life now is not from this world. You are no longer moving under the weight of old fears or opinions. You're moving under heaven's authority. And with that authority comes a level of divine intimidation, not to harm others, but to protect you from harm. That's why some people suddenly feel uneasy around you. That's why conversations that once drained you now die before they start. That's why old manipulations no longer hold power. It's not that you've become difficult, it's that your discernment has grown too loud to ignore. What used to confuse you now feels obvious. What used to hurt you now builds you. What used to block you now bows to you. This is what happens when heaven places a mantle of protection on someone. You become a no-access zone to spiritual parasites. You become off-limits to emotional leeches. You become untouchable to schemes that used to derail you with ease. And let's be real, this didn't happen overnight. You had to walk through seasons of pain with no explanation. You had to be betrayed by people you would have bled for. You had to sit in silence while your name was mishandled. You had to forgive people who didn't even think they were wrong. And all of it refined you. Not into a bitter person, but into a bordered person. You now know what's allowed into your space. You now recognize what belongs in your spirit. You now understand that peace is not passive. It's a weapon. Because when you carry peace that no attack can shake, no person can manipulate, and no circumstance can steal, you become dangerous to darkness. That's where you are now. People can't manipulate you because you don't need their validation. Spirits can't torment you because you've been made whole. Trials can't break you because your root system runs deep in God. The enemy has changed tactics now. He doesn't send loud warfare. He sends subtle compromise. He wants to make you doubt what God already told you. He wants you to question your clarity. He wants you to feel unqualified even though God already gave you permission. But here's the truth. Permission from God cancels rejection from man. You don't need their invitation when you already have his assignment. You don't need their applause when you already have his anointing. You don't need their support when you already have his sovereignty. And now, they know it too. The ones who once saw you as fragile now whisper about your strength. The ones who tried to control you now avoid your name. The ones who underestimated you are now watching from a distance. Because God made a statement without you saying a word. Your elevation didn't come with noise. It came with evidence. Your growth wasn't posted online. It was witnessed by heaven. And now that the manifestation has begun, don't shrink. Don't sabotage. Don't over-explain. Just walk. Walk like someone who's seen the pit and still rose. Walk like someone who's been through the fire and came out fragrant. Walk like someone who knows who they are and who sent them. This level of protection you're walking in, it's permanent. Not because you earned it, but because you've been entrusted with it. You've shown heaven that you won't misuse the influence. You've shown heaven that you'll stay humble even when elevated. You've shown heaven that you're not chasing platforms, you're following purpose. And that kind of spirit, God defends it publicly. So let them wonder why they can't access you anymore. Let them speculate why their words lost impact. Let them try to figure out why the doors they used to control are now closed. Because heaven closed them. Heaven shut the mouth of lions. Heaven rerouted the plans of darkness. Heaven pulled you out of circles that were killing your light. And heaven will not apologize for it. This new space you're walking in is not lonely. It's holy. You're not being left out. You're being led out. led out of compromise, led out of confusion, led out of cycles that felt spiritual but were actually sent to drain you. And as you walk forward, don't carry old guilt. Don't carry survivor's shame. Don't carry the weight of being misunderstood. You are not the same person who had to survive back then. You are now someone assigned to protect others. You are the testimony. You are the miracle. You are the evidence. And the protection around your life is proof of that. So from now on, the chosen one walks guarded, guided, and guaranteed, not by man, but by the Almighty. The chosen one, you've entered a season where your presence alone is warfare. You don't have to speak to shift the atmosphere. You don't have to explain yourself to expose darkness. Your very breath disturbs spirits not aligned with your assignment. Why? Because you're no longer walking as someone who's trying to be chosen. You're walking as someone who knows they already are. Let's make something clear. Your protection isn't passive, it's active. It doesn't just block attacks, it prevents them. It doesn't just respond to danger, it precedes it. This is what it means to be covered by God. He's not just defending you after the damage, he's removing the possibility before it happens. That's why things that used to trigger you now barely touch you. That's why people who used to provoke you now retreat. That's why the enemy who used to circle you has gone silent. You didn't lose the fight. The fight lost its permission. There's a divine filter around you now, and nothing gets past it without God's approval. That includes people, opportunities, and even blessings that aren't actually aligned. If it didn't show up, it wasn't because you missed it. It's because God blocked it. If someone left, it wasn't because you failed. It's because heaven removed access. Your yes to obedience came with a heavenly firewall. And if you've noticed certain things drying up lately, don't panic. It's pruning, not punishment. It's God fine-tuning your atmosphere. You're too close to destiny to allow distractions now. You're too anointed to keep entertaining counterfeits. You're too sealed to allow your name to be dragged into places it doesn't belong. There's something sacred about this moment in your life. People think you're just being distant or quiet, but they don't realize you're in divine formation. God is reworking your surroundings. He's reassigning your angels. He's reinforcing your identity. You're not hiding. You're being hidden. Not because you're weak, but because you're weighty. You carry revelation now. You carry legacy now. You carry the kind of oil that can't be exposed prematurely. So yes, let people think you've changed. Let them misread your silence. Let them feel uncomfortable around your boundaries. Because you don't owe access to everyone who once had it. Some of them only had access to the unhealed version of you, the overlooked version of you, the one still learning their worth. But now you know what you carry. Now you know who walks with you. Now you know what it costs to get here. And that cost wasn't just pain, it was proof. Proof that God never abandoned you. Proof that every delay had a purpose. Proof that every betrayal built your discernment. And now, you're not just aware, you're anchored. That's why you can walk through situations now without crumbling. That's why you can smile without forcing it. That's why you can forgive without forgetting the lesson. You've become spiritually unshakable. You've learned how to war in silence. You've learned how to trust the unseen. And most importantly, you've learned how to rest in the truth that God's protection is better than revenge. You no longer need justice from people because you're walking in justice from heaven. And heaven is thorough. He won't just defend your name, he'll restore your reputation. He won't just remove your enemies, he'll elevate you where they can't follow. He won't just give you peace, he'll make you a place of peace for others. So from now on, don't be surprised when the room shifts when you walk in. Don't be surprised when unspoken favor follows you. Don't be surprised when spiritual warfare tries to come near but can't land. You are not exposed. You are not vulnerable. You are not forgotten. You are watched over, shielded, and sealed. And the ones who once thought they could toy with you, they'll look again and see the glow. They'll hear again and feel the weight. They'll try again and be stopped by an invisible hand. Because the decree over your life now reads, "Do not touch my anointed. This one belongs to me." Let that sink in. You are off limits in the spirit, and no human decision can override a heavenly declaration. The chosen one. Have you felt it lately? That invisible barrier between you and what once had access? That unspoken force keeping certain people, places, and patterns away from you? That's not coincidence. That's the hand of God creating divine distance, not to isolate you, but to elevate you in peace. When heaven assigns protection, it doesn't always come with flashing lights or loud miracles. Sometimes it shows up as silence, as stillness, as a closed door that refuses to reopen, no matter how many times it's knocked on. This is your confirmation. What cannot reach you anymore was never meant to remain. There's a reason you no longer feel compelled to explain yourself. There's a reason their energy no longer feels compatible. There's a reason you feel peace where you used to feel pressure. You've outgrown warfare that used to entertain you. You've exited emotional traps that used to hold you hostage. You've walked out of spiritual contracts you never agreed to, but kept you bound. This isn't pride. This is spiritual clarity. God is not just protecting your life. He's protecting your momentum. He's not just shielding your body. He's securing your future. And the people who once had power to delay you, that power has expired. Don't look back. Don't reconsider. Don't open doors God has already locked. Some exits were not rejections. They were redirections. Some people didn't walk away. They were removed. Some opportunities didn't fall apart. They fell away so the real thing could find you. Because here's what you must understand now. You are stepping into a season where God is your reputation. No more defending yourself in private. No more explaining your heart to people committed to misunderstanding it. No more performing for validation you don't need. When God protects you, He also represents you. You will find yourself in spaces where people honor you without fully knowing why. You will receive invitations without campaigning for them. You will walk in rooms where your name was once dismissed and sit at tables you didn't even know were being set. That's what divine protection does. It doesn't just hide you. It prepares the unveiling. And it ensures that by the time you're revealed, you won't be desperate. You'll be rooted. Rooted in truth. Rooted in calling. Rooted in the kind of confidence that cannot be faked because it was forged in the fire. Yes, you were tested. Yes, you were broken. But now, you're guarded. Guarded by grace. Guarded by discernment. Guarded by a God who does not lose track of His anointed. That's why certain conversations feel beneath you now. That's why some circles feel spiritually stale. That's why your soul rejects anything not rooted in truth. You're not better than anyone. You're just aware now. And when you become aware of who you are in the Spirit, you stop begging for safety in the natural because you know you're already surrounded. The chosen one doesn't walk casually anymore. Every step is watched. Every move is marked. Every word is weighty. That's not pressure. That's privilege. And with that privilege comes new boundaries. You're not being distant. You're being directed. You're not being guarded. You're being guided. Because from now on, the people allowed close to you must also carry peace. The opportunities allowed in your space must also serve purpose. The voices you allow into your ears must also feed your soul. This is a holy filter, and it was installed by heaven. So don't apologize for what no longer fits. Don't grieve the connections that can't follow you into your next. Don't question the separation when it was really sanctification. You are not losing. You are being lightened. And light people walk far. This protection is not a pause. It's a path that leads to fulfillment, a path that honors your journey, a path where God goes before you and behind you. So move forward now, not just boldly, but safely, because no matter what's around you, no matter who tries to reach you, no matter how loud the noise gets, heaven has already said, "This one is mine, do not touch." The chosen one, now that heaven has sealed you, everything around you must adjust. The spiritual order has shifted. You are no longer subject to the chaos of others. You're walking under divine governance. What once had the right to attack now needs permission. What once roamed freely around your life now meets resistance. Not from you, but from the authority assigned to protect you. This is why you felt a divine tension lately. It's not anxiety. It's alignment. Your spirit knows that the atmosphere is being filtered. Old patterns are being stripped. The air around you is being cleared. Because what's coming next requires you to be light, clean, and untouchable. This is not about paranoia. It's about position. When God sets someone apart, He also sets standards around them. That means certain behaviors no longer feel normal. Certain people no longer feel familiar. Certain desires no longer feel satisfying. You're not becoming rigid, you're becoming recalibrated. You've been consecrated, and that changes everything. From this day forward, every relationship, every conversation, every opportunity must pass a spiritual checkpoint. If it doesn't bring peace, clarity, or purpose, it cannot stay. If it manipulates, distracts, or drains, it will fall away. Why? Because heaven is no longer passive in your life. Heaven is aggressive about your destiny now. The doors you walk through have been pre-approved. The battles you face have already been won. The traps set before you have been publicly disarmed. You're not navigating blindly anymore. You're walking with divine clearance. This is why you no longer fit in places that once celebrated you. Why you feel an urge to protect your time, your words, your energy. Why the approval of man suddenly feels irrelevant. Because God has handed you something heavier, the weight of being preserved. Preservation is not convenience, it's covenant. God is preserving your focus so you don't chase distractions, preserving your reputation so you don't waste time in conflict, preserving your heart so you don't confuse pain with purpose. And the result? You now carry a spiritual signal. Your presence exposes intentions. Your silence provokes reflection. Your discernment confronts deception. You're not just hard to reach now, you're hard to fool. People may think you're overreacting or too guarded, but they didn't see the battles you fought to get this clarity. They don't understand the torment that used to live in your mind, the warfare that stalked you at night, the false peace you had to peel off just to breathe. So no, you're not overreacting. You're finally protected. Protected not just externally, but internally. No more access through guilt. No more manipulation through memories. No more spiritual open doors through nostalgia. God has closed it all. And now you stand watched over by angels, by his word, by his promise. And he doesn't protect lightly. When God chooses to protect, he doesn't just shield your body, he covers your calling. That's why some of you are seeing sudden favor. That's why your enemies are falling silent. That's why people who disrespected you are now being replaced by those who honor your presence. It's not coincidence. It's spiritual law. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14, verse 14. Stillness is your strategy now. Not because you're passive, but because you're positioned. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. But also, let them witness. Witness how God protects his anointed. Witness how grace defends the obedient. Witness how favor finds the faithful. You don't have to defend your name. God is doing it for you. You don't have to fight to be seen. God is revealing you at the right time. So stay in alignment. Stay quiet when needed. Stay bold when called. Because the chosen one is not just protected by angels, you're marked by heaven's decree. And from this moment forward, every force that tries to touch you must answer to the one who sent you. You are covered, you are guarded, you are unstoppable.